Tell me what's the.
Well, I'm interested in bees because they're crucial to the entire ecosystem. I'm not an expert on bees, but I understand that in some regards they've been threatened, that there has been some kind of parasite that has been affecting their populations. I understand that their populations are beginning to recover, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the job is getting done.
Yeah, so let me bounce off that.
Sure.
The problem facing bees is exactly true. It's something called a varroa mite. It's a deer tick-like pest to the honeybee. Pound for pound, it would be like having a softball or a volleyball of a parasite, a deer tick, on them. And there is a threat somehow, to them. Am I on here?
Yeah.
I'm not. But there is a threat to bees at large.
Okay.
It's a lot of the native bees because, we make a lot of things lawn, make a lot of things asphalt, things like that.
Right.
And those bumblebees, we have 8 species of bumblebees in New Jersey alone.
Okay.
400 different species of bees in New Jersey alone.
Wow.
And those are the bees that will struggle.
Yeah.
And so that's why I like telling people, plant what you think is beautiful and plant what you think is native. So whatever your definition of native is. I say that like that because I think black locust is a native tree, and there's some ecologists out there that will arm wrestle me on that.
I see.
The bounce back is totally true.
Right.
It's with those hobbyist beekeepers that are keeping bees in their backyard.
Right.
And with the goal of saving the bees. Now, there's some downsides to that kind of attitude, because you can't just put bees in a box and come back in the fall and think that they're going to be healthy.
Right.
Putting bees in boxes doesn't do anything.
Right.
It's about constant management, constant looking at
supervision.
them.
Right.
Supervision, yeah. And so there's a kind of a cultural twist that needs to happen where people need to keep bees as opposed to have bees. Keep, maintain, care for, have, possess.
For these people who have that interest, with this, I'm aware of a New Jersey Beekeepers Association. Would that be something for them to look into?
Exactly. So they do their own classes, and they have some great programs that are out there. I'm a member there.
Great.
And they put out a quarterly magazine. I also have my own stuff, and so I sell bees. And so those individuals that buy bees from me, my goal is to sell them glass jars because they got so much honey, because their bees are so healthy.
Right.
And sell them more equipment because their bees are doing so well.
I understand.
The year over year selling bees is something that I do.
Yeah.
But I'd like to not have repeat customers.
I understand.
And so, doing all kinds of classes and different programs to teach those classes and teach the health and safety of the bees.
Well, my understanding is that my particular yard doesn't meet the requirement for being large enough, by state regulation. But my town has a town garden thing that people can garden for vegetables and things.
Yep.
Right next to the Rockaway River. So there's a water source.
Let me interrupt you.
So please.
The state does not have any regulation to omit beekeepers.
Really?
So if you have less than a quarter acre, you're allowed 3 hives.
I didn't know that.
You just need to do certain things. If you go up against the property line, you need to set up a flyway barrier.
Right.
You need to go 10 feet from this or...
I better check that out
There's
again.
little things that you need to do.
I understand
and it's actually best practice is what now is law. So if you weren't doing that anyway, then shame on you.
Yeah, right.
And so...
I see. That's interesting.
It's only... And even if your municipality outlaws it, the state omits that.
I understand.
Yeah.
What do I do about, if I were interested in that, what do I do about a water source for these bees?
Yeah, so I got, what I do is I have upside down dog water loaders. So it's like 5 gallons of water. that I put aquarium rocks in at some of my locations so that it just has water there.
I see.
I got a puddle over there that they are cleaning up,
Yeah.
but for some of my urban bee locations, I have that set
So you
up.
can just create a setup where there's always going to be water there.
Yeah.
And that's all you need
And
to
that's
do.
part of the regulation. You need to always provide
Well,
water.
of course, yeah.
And you want to, especially this time of year, we want to, when people are starting to open their pools, we want to make sure that our bees get honed on this water source as opposed to somebody's pool.
Yeah, right, of course. Yeah. What do you suggest a person does to mitigate fears that neighbors might have?
Your neighbors are the first people to get a jar of honey. That's for sure.
Right.
Setting up that water source
Right.
and taking it case by case.
Right.
You know, there's people that will see bees over there
Right.
and say, "Ah,
Yeah.
no."
Yeah.
But then there's also neighbors that might have a pool that their
Right.
bees are now all over,
Yeah, that's
and
no good.
that might be a problem.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, I don't have that problem. That's good news.
yeah, so little things like that. I had an issue last year where
Uh-huh.
we had a customer had bees, and he was a good beekeeper, but the bees were locked onto this person's pool.
Yeah, it's too bad.
And so what we did was we took them away for 6 weeks,
Right.
and then we brought them back to see if that worked.
Uh-huh.
And we gave them salt water through a division board feeder.
Isn't that interesting?
And so we gave them water, so they got locked on to some other water source here,
I get it.
and then we brought them back, so they had to find something else. 6 weeks, all the foragers that were foraging on that water source
Were gone. Yeah.
And so there's no known record,
Right. No memory.
no memory.
Yeah.
And although we can argue,
Well,
we
yeah.
can play that game
Yeah,
and say
right.
that there might be.
Yeah, right.
And which I love playing that game.
Yeah,
But yeah,
right.
so
Well,
that was a solution there. So
you know,
we listened to that homeowner and we played a game.
If anybody's seeing this, and as I am like totally novice to this, the one thing that you said that I think is the most important point of all is that it's called beekeeping for a reason. That means you have to tend to your bees. It's the same as if you had a garden.
Yep.
You know, you have to water it. You have to make sure it has this and that, and you have to inspect these bees because you have to spot one if it's ill. You have to figure out how the queen is doing, and I don't know all the details.
Check this out. That's a fucking raven and 4 crows.
Yeah. That's the raven.
That's the raven.
And they shoot them away. Got 'em
So
out of here.
cool.
Yeah, it is
I
cool.
love it.
Yeah.
I want him to come here.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, anyway, this is very interesting because I didn't know that I could keep bees in my location. I did read about some of the extra things that you must do, X amount of feet from a fence, the flyway thing to block them from, discourage them from flying to neighboring lawns and all that. But I think in general, like the area I live in, I think most people seem to have what are called well-kept lawns. I would rather see some
What town?
in Denville.
Denville. They do great in Denville. And I'm at the Denville Farmers Market. So come by.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I don't go anymore. I have an employee.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's there every week. That's going to be opening up. So it's going to start at 10 to 1 on
Now,
Sundays.
realistically, let's say I had 3 hives in my yard and I was going to be a beekeeper and I was going to look after them. What are the man hours in, say, a given week, like average?
I'd say it's like 15 minutes worth of attention
Right.
every 2 weeks.
That's marginal.
Yeah, and then there's like
But you have to
30
do it.
hours worth of learning.
Oh, I believe that.
And so if you start now,
Yeah.
you would be an excellent beekeeper for 2025.
Right, I see.
This
Now,
is
do you offer classes in there?
yeah, exactly. So free. So I
Wow.
yeah, I got rid of the classes because I was having trouble selling them.
I
And
understand.
so Fridays and most Saturdays here at 12 o'clock and 2:30.
Wow.
You just missed. I had
Well,
these
that's-
2 kids here
that's
that
all right.
were I'll open up the bees for you. And so like again, my goal is for your bees to be healthy. And so
Right, so that I don't come back every year buying bees.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I have these free demos.
So you can stress that aspect. You can stress, say, look, this is how we keep them healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
well,
so,
you know, I have a student who is in high school. He's or was in high school. He was, what do you call it, homeschooled. And his science credit was kept bees.
cool.
And he showed me their box and their hive, and he explained a few things. And I thought, well, what a great thing to do, you know, just not only for the love of bees, but for the environment, you know, for the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and that's like better learning than a lot. So it's like now that kid has applied science,
Right.
as opposed to theoretical.
Well, of course, yeah, he's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of his schoolwork had to do with hands-on.
Yeah.
So, and he's in college now at some great university.
Cool.
Probably reinvent something. Anyway, so Fridays and Saturdays at noon or 2:30.
Yep.
Okay. What is your name?
Patrick.
Patrick.
And your
Todd.
blog is?
It's called Todd's Cool Zone.
Okay.
Yeah. That's,
Cool.
I'm Todd.
You're Todd.
Yeah.
I'd be weird if you were the cool zone.
Yeah. I'm not quite the cool zone.
But awesome.
Well, anyway, thank you.